What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over sentence fragments on the ACT. Now, this is often an overlooked subject for most students because it seems really easy, but it can be a little bit tricky if you're not familiar with it. So, getting straight into it. So, what are sentence fragments? Sentence fragments are simply groups of words that seem like a sentence but lack the words necessary to make it stand on its own. Now, these can be tricky because they do seem like sentences, but oftentimes they're missing one little piece that makes it not a complete sentence. And so students can often trip off on this type of thing. Getting into the examples here. So there are different examples of sentence fragments. So one example would be one where it's missing the verb. Now, if you watched the previous video, you'll know that every complete sentence has at least two parts to it. It has a subject and a predicate. If we're missing one of those parts, we're not going to have a complete sentence. So in this case, now the predicate usually includes the verb in it. So if we're missing the verb, we have a problem because that means we're missing the predicate. So Bob, my younger brother, right? Now, Bob, my younger brother, can be considered the subject of the sentence, but in this case, we're missing the verb predicate. So this is not a complete sentence. The giant tortoise and his friend, same thing. We have the subject, but we don't have a verb. And as a result, we're missing that predicate that we need to make a complete independent clause, full sentence. Getting into the next example, the missing subject. So if we have, for example, parked the car, right? So parked could be considered the subject of the sentence, but we don't have a verb. Parked can be considered the verb of the sentence, but we don't have a subject. And so as a result, once again, we don't have a complete sentence because we're missing a part of that subject and predicate. Went to the movies, that could be considered the verb or the predicate of the sentence, but once again, we don't have a subject that's doing the verb, and so we don't have a complete sentence here. Now, probably the most common example of a sentence fragment that you'll find is this right here, where you're missing a helping verb. And this can be a little bit confusing because in this case, we have the man swimming in the pool. So the man could be considered the subject, and swimming could be considered the verb if we have a helping verb to go along with it. Now, this is tricky, right? Because swim is a verb, but if we attach an ing to it or an ed to the end of it, then we need a helping verb. So, for example, we can say the man was swimming or the man is swimming, right? If we don't have that helping verb to go along with the ing or ed verb, then we have a sentence fragment. So, the lady walking down the street, same thing, right? If we just put the lady walking down the street, right, we need something else to go with it. Now, you could kind of say it out loud a little bit, right? It doesn't quite sound right. If you say the lady walking down the street, right, it almost like feels like we need something else to it. So that's one little trick you can use when you're trying to figure out whether you have a complete sentence or not. But ultimately, when we have an ing or an ed at the end of the verb, we need a helping verb to go along with it. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Short little sweet little video, short and sweet little video. Yeah, the next video we're going to be going over run-ons and comma splices. So watch out for that. Have a good one. I hope this video was helpful.